Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast episode on self-forgiveness. Today's date is 17th of January and time is 4:14 p.m. India. It's New Delhi. So I was thinking about what should be the next podcast episode, and then my friend helped me, and she said like, okay, you can do on this topic or that topic, and then I started studying about it, and later on I was like, okay, let me do on self forgiveness, and I didn't know it was such a vast topic. When you start something, you think it's like, for me, self forgiveness is just like, oh, I need to forgive myself. But for what? You know? Because I think I am also the person who is under self deception. Yes. So we will cover each and every topic. But most importantly, before starting, I would like to define few words. I'm sure you know the meaning, but while I was studying it, I kind of redefined it, and it is also redefined by many of our psychologists. And I think you should know this because there are lots of content on internet and everywhere. You can read it, and I personally feel they are very very misleading. So here I am defining few words for you. First is regret. What is regret? Regret is something like, can I erase autumn of 2017? Now, guilt. What is guilt? Guilt is something which affects different brain regions, and guilt causes shame, and shame feeds guilt. What is self loathing? A crushing sense of being unacceptable, painfully embarrassed to live. So, if self loathing is more, then you're like, oh, I am not doing anything. Okay, nobody accepts. So, I'll be in self isolation. Okay, then the next word is disgust, one that causes self harm and eating disorders. Some kind of eating disorders, I think everybody goes through it. Our favorite line of the day, I don't feel like eating, I'm not hungry. you know so it starts from there, and it goes till like Princess Diana had eating disorders. Okay. Yeah, I watched Crown and I saw it there. Yes. Next word is fear. So, afraid that we cannot erase those deeds or thoughts or qualities that shame us. Okay. So, while you're sleeping and suddenly in the middle of the night you wake up with a thought, oh my God, what will happen if tomorrow again I lie or I betray or I do something. I know it is wrong, but I have a habit and I can't not do it. So, that's the fear. Okay. So, trying hard to erase it, but unable to do so. Okay. So, I think we have heard that forgiveness is a good thing. Forgive others, forgive yourself. We keep hearing uh, these lines. And we say that it frees us from bitterness and anger, which in turn affects our health. Okay. We seldom say each other that, listen, you'll fall sick. Okay. So don't hold on to anger. Most often, we are focusing on how to forgive others. And I personally feel everything starts and ends with us. Everything is a chapter, and a chapter of forgiveness also starts with us. And understanding self forgiveness is hard. So, there are many a times when we keep contemplating that, okay, which one thought will lead me to forgiving that person. And we only focus on that. And then we just kept forgiving ourselves for some reason. So, what I have found is self forgiveness is really, really hard. We will find out how as we go through this podcast episode. So, the pattern of our thoughts are we begin with the past, move briefly through the present, and head towards the future. Letting go of the past we have created in our minds can feel shaky and tenuous. When we try to forgive ourselves, we are trying to release a part of past from us. The number of times we lived it through narratives or like a train running in my mind defines what percentage of identity we have built around it. This is my this is very close to my heart. So what we do is we are not when we are sad, it is not about that person. It is about the identity created around that person. It is about the memories created around that person. And it depends on how good a dreamer you are, okay? And how strongly you have built your identity around that thought, that dream, or that person. So, harder it is to let go of that dream, that thought, or that person, okay? And here self forgiveness comes into play. And yes, it's true. Our thoughts, they go in circle and circle and circle. At least for me, it happens. So, grief, what is grief? Grief is the acute pain that accompanies loss because it is a reflection of what we love. Okay. It can feel encompassing, it can feel sucking. Grief is not only limited to the loss of a person or a loved one through death, but in today's digital age, it is also something like losing somebody, like somebody going out of touch, okay? Somebody not talking to you or blocking you or something. Suddenly somebody has become stranger in your life, okay? It gives you similar feeling. It can maximize by feelings of guilt and confusion if the relationship was difficult. Now, here is the trick. We not only grieve the person we have lost, but we also grieve it more if the situation was, if the relationship was difficult, if there was confusion, if there was complexity. So, hence you feel guilty. Okay, so can you see? I always thought that if you're happy, if you love someone more, you mourn more. But no, here we are saying that if the relationship is difficult, you are more guilty. Okay. Grief has its own trajectory. Mm, it can catch you anytime. It is uncertain. If you avoid it, then it gets prolonged. And demanding extra help and additional support can help you get through it easily. There are certain misperceptions like more grief is better and trying to define the ways to grieve or things like that, which doesn't hold true. Like water doesn't ask us before flowing, should I? So just let it flow. For some, it's acute and unexpectedly when triggered in future can return. And that is what exactly happens with so many mental disorders also. A person will be absolutely normal and suddenly one day that person will be diagnosed with bipolar 1, you know, because it also depends upon the environment, situation, circumstances, the way the stress is handled, the pressure is taken, genetically how that person is have been like. If the person is from a very strong genetic background, then the person can like sail through the toughest of times. So yeah, many factors come into play. Other individuals can experience prolonged grief lasting months or years and leading to isolation. Okay. Yeah, so it totally depends, and it is a individual way of dealing with it. So we can't say, oh, this can happen or that can happen. Yeah, there are a number of things, but it depends in the end what will happen. And as per the source, there is a book called On Death and Dying. It was published in 1969 by a psychiatrist named Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and she defined stages of grief. So, first is denial, second is anger, third is bargaining, fourth is depression, and fifth is acceptance. So, first we deny, no, it can't happen. Second is anger, oh, why did it happen? Third is bargaining, can this happen? Can you please take this and give me back this? And the next is depression because, oh, we know, oh my God, yeah, it has happened. And then acceptance, okay, it has happened to me, now what? I need to move on. Okay, so those stages. Some people might not follow the stages. Okay, so as I said, it is unpredictable. And but what is the difference between grief and depression? Okay, so sadness or grief is something which tends to decrease over time, but depression is persistent. Okay, it always remains. It doesn't need a reason to be depressed. Okay, I feel sad because I feel sad. I don't have any logic for that. It also might hit you on special occasion though, and it is for sadness. So sadness can hit you on special occasions though. Yeah, like celebration or Christmas or any birthday, any such kind of event when that person was very important in your life and you have memories attached to that person. But how do you support a griever? So, first and the foremost step is to follow the lead. So, ask the griever what he or she wants to do, how he or she wants to deal with it. Okay. Second is resist judging. Okay, somebody can be insufficiently sad, somebody can be dwelling on it too much, for years maybe. Don't encourage them to close the topic. We say, okay, let's close this topic, let's not discuss. Don't do that. Okay. Many mourners want those around them to listen, ask questions, discuss, confirm the depth, validate their feeling, and helping them heal. Okay, so it all depends on who is the griever. What we mourn. What we mourn. Okay, what we experience can be loss of someone, living or dead. And as I said, in today's digital world, anything can be grieved about. Okay, I think these teenagers or the adolescents or the kids, they can also grieve on their broken iPhone or a broken gadget, and then you'll be like, hey, I don't want to deal with this, but trust me, you'll have to deal with it in the similar manner as if somebody has died. Yes. An important role in someone else's life or just a loss of dream, okay, can be the reason to grieve. Unfortunately, many of us seek permission of grieving. We find people around us who do not acknowledge of our reason or our pattern of grieving. I think I'm also one of those who doesn't approve of grieving much, So I'm also heartless, which is why they are labeled disenfranchised. So there is a term called disenfranchised. And what is the meaning of this word? This word simply means the pain compounded by feeling that they have been not given permission to grieve. Okay, so it happens with most of us. Somebody comes and says, hey, let's go and party, you'll feel better. Or let's go out for swimming, or let's do this, or let's do that. Or, you'll come across people who will suddenly do something which will make them happy after a very depressing moment of their life. Okay, they'll buy a car, they'll do something big. So, what I do, okay, I would like to share it, how I deal with it. So, if I'm grieving on something or anything, what I do is um, I finish all my work, I sit down, and I take guava, that's favorite, That's not favorite, I would say, but that's nostalgic. I sit with lights switched off, and I'm sitting on my bed and I'm eating guava. And when I'm done eating guava, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm healed completely. Okay. Or initially it was Maggie, but now it's not Maggie, now it's guava. Yes. Or hot water, as I said on my previous episodes, one mug of hot water does it all. You can't stay too far from who you are. Soon you will be back home. Yeah, this is a very important line because I can be who you are, but soon I'll be who I am. Okay? I believe that nobody is gone for too long. One day you have to accept who you are, and that day, that very day, you want to do what you want to do, and you don't want to just please or be with people you don't really enjoy being with. What happens if we help them grieve? What happens if we help the griever grieve? We help them to come out of chaos. We help them forgive themselves. We help them recognize them that an individual is entitled to anger. We can stop them from going too far to find that compassion. What happens many a times, we are pushing the griever. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't keep on thinking about the same thing. Oh, you're again discussing the same thing. Oh no, you have to like just get over it. So we put a pressure on them, and what happens? They just either they are self isolating after this happens, or they go and search for someone else and start talking to them. So, and that's also okay, but depending on that, the person who is now working as a shoulder is not exploiting the person. That's very important. It becomes hard to forgive others because transgression, what is the meaning of transgression? Act against the code of conduct, and the reaction has become part of our identity. Okay, so why forgiveness is hard? Because I I think that any act, the transgression, as in any act, has become part of our identity, and everything has become part of our identity, and we are like not letting it go. If we forgive somebody, we have to let it go. And we don't want to. We somewhere deep within want it to be there. So that is why. And why it cannot happen? Because we don't accept also. There is part of self deception playing its role. And I'm like, listen, hey, I will be like this only, okay? And hence, I don't think so. It's my fault. It's your fault only, and I'm not going to forgive you. Forgiving others become better if you forgive yourself. Okay, because first and the most important thing is you were at certain place at certain time because you wanted to be there. Okay, and when you were there, you could have said no, so but you were there. And if you hold somebody responsible for all the wrongdoing, so first it is important to forgive yourself because you decided, you were the one, you said yes, you were there. And we are only talking about these kind of people who decided to be there right now. And then when you were there and something happened to you, so you forgive yourself first, and you can forgive others. Okay, we will also come back to that when you are not there. So yeah, after a while we'll reach there also. we definitely need to retain the emotional lesson to treat ourselves better. If we would have known that this will turn out to be ugly, then we would have never done it. That is the thought behind self forgiveness. Why did we do? Why did we even go? Because we never thought it will turn ugly, yeah, but it turned ugly. So now what to do? Okay, so accept that, yeah, we decided, and in most of the cases, we were happy in that moment. We were okay somewhere. Later, we realized it was not working. Okay, so it's okay. We register that we are wrong, mentally and physically, and when someone else comes into picture, then there is guilt, and such mistake often brings sadness. So if we are the one who acknowledges that because of us somebody else got hurt, okay, we register that feeling in our mind, also on our body, and we express guilt. Okay, we need to release the emotion when forgiving. So when we are releasing the emotion, how we are releasing the emotion? By forgiving. First forgive yourself, then forgive others. Okay, let's also not label ourselves. Labeling is not good. Like, we should not label our child or children. We should not label ourselves. Oh, I'm like this only. Oh, whenever I speak, people get hurt. Oh, whenever I do this, it's not good. So don't label yourself. You are a human being. So it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. Since childhood, we have been taught that when we do something wrong, we are punished. Uh, for us, not right is equal to bad, and it goes on and on. When we make a wrong move, our brain tells us to hide it. The first and the subconscious mind uh, decision is to hide it. Let's hide it. First step to forgiveness is to accept we blew it. And if we don't try, we resist. We stop trying, we block ourselves from failing. That in turn means we are escaping to win. Okay, you see how simple formula it is. A very simple formula that mm, let's accept we blew it, okay, and let's give us some marks for trying. And if ever we stop trying, then what happens? We block ourselves. And I'm sure somebody who is listening will say, I am not going to try this again. Me too. But that means we are halfway through. We have not been properly healed. We have not forgiven ourselves completely. Okay. So what we do, we block ourselves. Okay, and we don't want to try it ever again. But that also means we are escaping to win. Remember probability lesson. Every time there's a chance of 50% winning and 50% losing. As a human, if we are not touched by all sorts of feeling, be it embarrassed, underconfident, etc., then we are deprived from living fully. Let's not stay with narrow comfort zone. Let's not be biased when forgiving. Static isn't a good state to be, whether internally or externally. We need to be as loving, as caring, and trusting friend of ourselves as we are to those who we love the most. If we forgive them, then we should also forgive ourselves and those who we love less. We cannot block ourselves, walk away, quit, or we can't divorce ourselves. So let's love and appreciate ourselves. That is the only way we can deal with ourselves. Now I want to talk about types of forgivers. Okay, so the mm, very nice forgiver is somebody who is called the speedy forgiver. Speedy forgiver is somebody who is very far from reality. When the reality hits and they feel the tooth of remorse or the pang of regret, they let themselves off the hook. Okay, they are done with grieving, they are done with everything, and now they have moved on, they're living a good life. They have planned everything well for the next year and they are done. Why are they doing this? Because they are denying the responsibility. They're minimizing their role. They're shifting the blame. Okay? And they are engaging in revisionist history. You know what is it? What is revisionist history? Somebody who consciously wants to go and revise the history. Either I will say, listen, hey, I don't want to talk about it, or I'm someone who will say, no, 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 I don't think so. This happened. I think something else happened. No, 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 I don't think so. You are narrating it right. No, I didn't do this. I did something else. So that means I'm trying to revise the history. Okay, and I am putting the blame on you. I am basically escaping. So that person doesn't reflect. There is no effort to repair the damage. These people are more concerned about removing the damage and wipe the slate clean. They treat themselves and their actions like an etch a sketch. They give a good shake and everything disappears, but it doesn't. They feel it has disappeared, but it doesn't. It is still there. Okay. Now, who is a genuine self forgiver? That person is somebody who restores the sense that they have moral worth or dignity. They have made significant mistake and they have caused great harm, but they are ready to bear the burden and help in recovery. It's hardest for genuine self-forgiver to forgive themselves. Why? Because they can, the empathy factor in them is really high. Okay, they can get through your mind and they can feel your pain. So it's very hard for them to forgive themselves. There's a lot of people who are suffering from self deception, which makes it difficult to identify when self forgiveness is appropriate. Okay, because yeah, sometimes, like I said, I am the person who is highly into self deception. So I'm not sure where and why I need to self forgive myself. Okay. Then the other category is exceptionalism. Uh, Exceptionalism is a term which is cousin to perfectionism. You have larger than life picture of yourself. Your image in your view is bloated. You are a doer and you control outcomes of your action. That's what you believe. It happens or not, I don't know. But you strongly believe you are the one. Okay. Why I say I don't know? Because in some reason maybe you'll logically prove that, hey, look, I did this and this happened. But trust me, even if you would have not done that, it would have happened. Yeah. uh, the next term is expansionism. You expand the realm of your responsibility to just about everything. You are like, okay, I am the only one in the office. I will do this, then this will happen. Oh, my boss can't do this. I'll have to do this on behalf of my boss. I have to do this on behalf of my colleagues. At home, I am the doer. I have to do this on behalf of my dad, my mom, my brother, my sister, my wife, my kids. So that is called expansionism, where you have expanded your role. Okay. The other term is confirmation bias. Now, what is that? This is the result of childhood not gone right. Yes, you were surrounded by a narcissist, where you learned to blame yourself for everything which went wrong. Okay, you had a habit of holding yourself responsible for everything which went wrong, and hence you think believe deeply that you don't deserve forgiveness. And I have a very good example of a girl called Tina, who, for example, is a doting wife who believes everything is her fault. Mm, Now it's like offering platter to your better half. The husband reinforces the belief that she is right, that she is responsible for everything. Now, what is happening? The relationship is going from bad to toxic to dangerous. Okay, so wife is convinced everything is her responsibility. Husband is also happily convinced that yeah, she is right, this is her responsibility. Okay, better stay quiet, else she will hold me responsible. Now let's imagine she finally leaves her better half. After many years, she feels as if she has really let her down by staying for so long. She has wasted so many years, uh, and she wasted her time on someone who did make her a better person and also let her down, or tore her down is a better word. Yes, tore her down. So self forgiveness is very important here to restore the dignity which was lost long back and usually damaged. When we are damaged in a harmful relationship, rebuilding the sense that I matter is very, very important. For many, it is also the first time. So, something like, for example, Tina here can be in two situations. One is like she had very good experiences throughout her life, and then she met this guy, and now then she was married or maybe engaged, and this person tore her down, and now she is rebuilding herself. But for many, since childhood, they always encountered narcissists, and then this Tina, the other one, the second one, meets this guy, and now for the first time ever in her life, she is trying to build her confidence. She is trying to work on the damage which is done. Okay, so what she needs to do? She needs to forgive herself. So the question is, what might acknowledgement, repair, and commitment that are crucial for self forgiveness look like for Tina? Okay, so I think first is history of relationship. What kind of relationships she had, be it daughter father relationship, mother daughter relationship, sibling relationship, friendship, any kind. But was it not good? And because she only encountered those persons, so she was pushed to choose a similar person. Second is newly developed patterns. Many times after committing, you see many changes in a person, that now this person has suddenly started behaving differently. Okay. Third is old patterns which are carry forwarded. Like you always hoped that, yeah, these things are bad in this person, but after commitment, he will change, that kind of dream. But nobody changes. Fourth is acknowledging the deep insecurity. Sometimes because we are insecure about finances, we are insecure about emotions, we are insecure about n number of things because the world is really, really tough. So, what we do, we say, okay, yes, to anybody, we meet because it is convenient, it is comforting for us, At least our basic needs are being fulfilled, and then we get exploited emotionally. And it is very important for her to acknowledge the reasons for staying, the reasons for leaving. So basically, the note to self. And she also needs to acknowledge things which were beyond her control. Like she gave her best input. She tried a lot, but things were beyond her control, and hence now she is moving on. And the last is she also needs to acknowledge that few things were her partner's responsibilities which he couldn't fulfill. Now, what should be the repair steps? So, repair steps can be restore, rejuvenate, heal, redeem, and reframe. Okay. Um, so there's like a tape running or a train running in her head, that how could she do this to herself? It's like self inflicted harm. If now she reframes the collage of pictures, she might understand the broader picture. For example, uh, that she had very few options is one very important point. Second, there was lot at stake then. Third, she had options. One option was rock, another option was stone. Okay, both options were not good. Okay, so yeah, she did good. She chose one. And hence, she might realize that she did the best she could in difficult situation. That means she has more worth than she thinks she has. The commitment to not undervalue oneself is commitment to a better present and future. Now, this thought builds off acknowledgement and repair work. Okay. Now, accepting, because you know what we do, when we think of past, we only think like, oh, I did this, but you don't remember the minute things, the nitty gritties, why you did that, you know. So then those thoughts will help you uh, forgive yourself, acknowledge, and you will start, the repair work will start happening. Okay. It involves breaking old patterns. You will have to break your old patterns. The most and the important thing is you have to say no to bad things, yes to good things, be at the right place and not be at the wrong place. Okay. From there it all starts. Mm, it also involves breaking off self deprecation pattern and denigration pattern. Now, what is self deprecation? I know everybody knows English, we have Oxford Dictionary also with us, but I would like to, I don't want you to think about what it is, so I would like to define each and everything here. So, self deprecation means belittling yourself, and self denigration means unfairly criticizing oneself. Okay, so you need to break all these patterns and take a new version of you when moving forward after forgiveness. Okay, and you have to encourage yourself at every step. Now, let's understand what is the anatomy of an over apology. Because you know what happens, like these kind of person, like these kind of people, like one like Tina, uh, and I think I am also one of those who over apologizes. I don't know why. You know, sometimes I simply think that okay, if I say sorry, everything will be fine. You know, maybe I am deeply insecure. I don't want to lose people just because they didn't feel like saying sorry. And so I think, okay, I should say sorry, you know. So I'm sorry. If I'm sorry is your first response, if it is your immediate expression of sorrow, then is it rational? Do you think is it rational to say sorry as an immediate expression? Uh, I think you should or we should come out of this doer mentality. Okay. Even if we say sorry or even if we don't say sorry, nothing is going to change. You know, things will remain as they are. By saying sorry, we only mm, forgive ourselves in a better way. Okay. That if something is um, getting ruined because of me, then it should not. And I'm sorry for that. Self criticism is a component of depression. Tendency to regard oneself as the cause of other people's woes can place you or us at risk of chronic sadness. Similarly, researchers approach self blame as a feature of the depressed person's tendency to focus criticism inward. खुद को ही criticize, yes, you criticize yourself, you start blaming yourself and you are like, okay, I'm the one. Yeah, true. You know, I can totally relate with this. because I think, yeah, I have been around people who do this a lot. And sorry, yes, I say sorry, but I don't think so. I criticize myself. Yes, I don't know, self deception. I'm the case of self deception, so it's very tough for me. Okay, now who regrets? Researcher says one who causes harm only regrets. Now, this is very interesting, and I was very happy to read it because we ask everybody, oh, are you regretting? Or do you regret? Do you regret? It's like a fashion statement. We are asking everybody, but no, only that person who causes harm regrets. That means person or people who doesn't harm doesn't regret. Okay, and it definitely does not apply to over apologizer. Okay, so when somebody who's saying I'm sorry, I'm sorry, doesn't hold for them. To understand chronic apologizer, let's turn to empathy. It's important to understand empathy. What is empathy? Tendency to feel bad when others do. You can feel empathy toward any person, not necessarily a victim. It's just that I need to get inside your brain and feel your pain. That's it. Even if you have murdered 5 people, before reaching me, and I can see you are in pain, and my thought will get inside your brain, and oh, I'll say, oh my god, he is in pain, I can feel his pain, so done. Okay, so it can possibly cause your own levels of distress to escalate. So my only suggestion is save yourself. We have Mm, basically what we do is we appreciate people who empathize a lot, but here I would say save yourself. You can't keep on empathizing with each and every stranger or every person you come across, because many people also, like I said, somebody who has murdered 5 people, certainly you can't empathize with those kind of people. So take a hard look at what are you feeling. Not they, yourself. Take a hard look on yourself and decide whether you have gone too far down this path. The most painful emotion is shame. Now, why is shame the most painful emotion? Shame is not bland embarrassment. Shame is not wishing we had ordered soup instead. It's a free fall, whiplash, shock of believing that we have broken rules and caused harm. We are unacceptable and deserving of punishment. Feelings of shame may increase the risk of suicide. Yes. So, what leads to suicide? Shame. And Charles Darwin, for one, studied blessing, noting that it was caused by state of self-attention under real or imagined gauge of others. Sorry, not blessing, blushing. Charles Darwin, for one, studied blushing. Now this is hilarious, Charles Darwin studying blushing. Yeah. So, what he noted is that somebody who seeks self attention under real or imagined gauge of others, it is like when somebody is looking at me, I start blushing. Now, what happens then? It makes the blusher suffer and the beholder uncomfortable without being of least service to either of them. So what it says that somebody who is blushing, now see, the story in this psychology or the psychiatrist word is totally different. I always thought blushing is a positive feeling, but now I know blushing is not a positive feeling. When you blush, you suffer. Okay, and the beholder, somebody who is looking at you, is uncomfortable. Wow. So without being at least, and it is not a service of to any of them, neither the blusher nor the beholder. Now, yet the blushing word is evolutionary, and so the shame word is also evolutionary. It has arguably shaped the civilization, you know, years after years, decades after decades. Shame is also evolving, blushing is also evolving, everything is evolving. So now blushing has evolved as something which we use casually. Similarly, shame is also getting evolved as a word. Fear of burning in hell for theft lessens theft. Yeah, it's true, it happens. So, but how much is enough and who decides? We can only unbind it by exploring one by one its toxic threads. And what are those toxic threads? Regret, guilt, self loathing, disgust, and fear. These are all toxic threads. So, this was my take on self forgiveness. And I remember while I was doing this, I said we will discuss the other category later. And I think that category was okay, yeah, somebody who is actually at fault. Like somebody has been kidnapped and reaches a place, okay, and that person has been, for example, I don't know whether I should say or not, but that person has been harmed. Now, years after, I'm regretting that situation, that incident. Oh my god, I am the one, I am bad. Why was I there at the college at 5 p.m., why were I having coffee and that guy came and then he kidnapped me and this happened, that long story. Now, what should I do? How can I self forgive myself? So, I would say, uh, don't be a doer. You think you are a doer, hence, you think it is your responsibility to be at some place or not to be at some place. I don't believe in that. And you should also not believe in that. Few things in our life are meant to be. So it happened. What you can do is you can forgive yourself for being there, for making a wrong choice, or for making a wrong decision to be there, or and above all, for not judging anybody in that moment. uh, you are a very, I would say, you are a very simple person who doesn't know uh, all those bad things which can happen to you, and you were like, okay, I'm just standing here having coffee, and years later you're still carrying that load, that oh my god, this happened to me. So first of all, forgive yourself. If you are innocent, forgive yourself, because I don't think so there is anything uh, more beautiful than being a innocent person. It's hard to find innocent and pure people on this earth these days. So if you are a victim, okay, if something bad happened to you, if somebody did something to you, just forgive yourself for once, because I won't say it is your karma. I won't say it was your fault. I won't say it was not your fault. I would say it was just like any other day. You were very innocent and it happened to you, and you had no control over it. So just forgive yourself for that and move on in life, because life is a beautiful place to live in, and we should not spend, I think, even a single moment thinking of uh, whether I can go back and erase the autumn of 2017. We have better options, and we can utilize our life in much much better way. And like me, you can also do something which is very creative. You can do something where you're giving so much to the society, and you're loving it, and you're not dependent dependent on somebody to appreciate you or not appreciate you. You are living life on your own terms is very, very important. And as you will start doing it, you will start self-forgiving yourself, because you'll feel better with each and every thing. Like, now I'm feeling much better after completing this podcast episode. Okay, so life has many opportunities. Life is very, very beautiful. So let's not waste time. Don't wait for anything to happen. Don't wait for apple to fall. Just keep living it beautifully. Thank you so much for having me. And today, I think I took 50 minutes. So thank you so much. Love you all. Let's meet in our next podcast episode, and do write to me at Preeti, PRRITI @blinkofany.in, BLINKOFANEYE.in. Thank you so much.